if you want to make content, you know what I'm saying? You got to think about it. Being a Christian, talking politics, it's not a good combination as far as what the world wants or doesn't want to hear. I started making content and I started figuring out how it works, right? And I'm telling you right now, it's crazy. I've seen so much censorship, so much hate, so much bias angles against people like me. I mean, I probably can just start making content talking about that, to be honest. You know, it's wild that we live in a day and age where it's like cliche to say it, but 1984, y'all, it's right in your face. And I'm gonna tell you something about that book. That book, hella depressing. The ending of that book, the way they got caught in that book, the way Big Brother was watching them in that book, that's what we can end up comparing a lot of this to currently. It's probably more parallel to that book than anything else, y'all, that I've seen. The book 1984. I don't want to give it away, but if you read it, you read it. But of course, the guy's, feels like he's being spied on, even by his TV, which he actually is. He's being spied on by all these gadgets. He's in a dark world, right? And he's paranoid that his TV is watching him, and it basically is. And it's wild that that book was written so long ago. It's a dystopian nightmare, basically, right? It's like an end of the world, like a hardcore, depressing, bleak future where, everyone's controlled. And it's wild that I always compare the social media thought police, the social media situation to that book. And now that I think about it, it's like the most honest and precise comparison of what we got going on in America. And I'm going to say something real quick. I ain't trying to be too dark and gloomy, but I hope that it's not as bad as I have a bad feeling it is. And I'm a Christian. I ain't really tripping, right? I ain't really tripping at all. But I'm going to tell you something. If it's as dark as what's in the back of my mind, the Lord Jesus told his disciples, if I told you earthly things and you believe me not, imagine if I told you heavenly things. Right. And that verse always sticks out into my mind. Like, how deep is this rabbit hole on earth? How wicked are things? The Bible talks about in Ephesians 6:12, y'all, that there's spiritual wickedness in high places. I always said it was the government. But to be honest, I think it goes even deeper than that. Right. They say shadow government, deep state. I think it's even deeper than that. I can go, further down that rabbit hole if I really wanted to right now. But back to my point. And I digress respectfully. The book 1984 is what the current situation in America, that's what it reminds me of, that book. And I don't want to be a doomer or a gloomer, but I got to be honest. Even my wife has said this, y'all. And I've heard it from many people, that basically you ain't got to go out there and have the feds, or the law enforcement or any agencies tap your phone or any of your equipment. We got it right here. We got the equipment right here that we freely let them watch us on, right? So to really be honest, it's kind of sad and it's kind of tripped out that I compare America to 1984, the book, but I honestly think it's probably more wicked than the book, to be honest. Even though they're living in that dystopian setting, who would have thought that they can watch us, ban us, harass us, censor us, shadow ban us, whatever you want to call it, right? Who could have thought they could have done that to the point of, basically having people want to give up on this stuff?